All right, we're doing our one and only mock draft. You're watching Off Script. All right, I'm Cade.Neidhamer, joined with Todd, Thompson. Excited to talk some NFL football, huh?
Let's get it, dude.
All right, so we're controlling all 32 teams, doing our one and only mock draft. Let's start it off. I wonder who the Titans are taking at 1. I'll have to start the draft on Oh, 5 people want to trade with him. Let's just look at it. The Jet. Is this how we offer trades? Well, right. We all know what's happening, right?
Titans at 1.
Yeah, Titans at 1. Your picks.
All right, so they're gonna go Tyler Show, quarterback from Louisville.
Tyler Shuck, first overall.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Cam Ward.
Cleveland's on the clock.
So we really know the number 1 pick. Number 1 pick, obviously, Cam Ward. So this is where the draft starts at 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's either Abdul or Travis.
At first, I'm pretty sure they were higher, or they were being mocked more to take Abdul. Mm-hmm. But then recently, it came out that they're probably going to draft Travis. So this is based on what the team would do, not what we would do, just to make that clear. So the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, they have reported that they like Travis more than Abdul, just to help their team dynamically on both sides of the football. So that means
I would do that pick though. If I were them,
I'd take Abdul.
I would take Travis.
Well, that means the next pick's a given.
You want to do like alternate picks?
Yeah, sure.
Like,
let's do that.
We can each pick, but we can like alternate.
Mm-hmm. Like who doesn't?
So I'll let you do this pick.
Well, I mean, Abdul, because once the Browns pick their player, even if it's Abdul or Travis, the next pick is either Abdul or Travis. So now, Patriots kind of now where the draft starts, kind of. Who do you think the Patriots go with?
So the obvious choice would be O-line, right?
Yeah.
But, with somebody like Ashton Jeanty there, a potential generational running back. I know the running back class is very deep, and you can get a really good running back later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying they're going to pick Jeanty, but I'm saying it's an option. But right now, I would probably have them take one of the O-linemen, whether that be Will Campbell or Mimbu. So I'll just throw out Will Campbell. But, I mean, it's 50-50 on who they would get, in my opinion.
Will Campbell, 4th overall to the
correct
Patriots. Now it's 5, Jacksonville. It's kind of a tough pick right here. They can go basically anything because their need is yes. I honestly think that the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've been in love with Mason Graham, mocked. But
that's the most obvious choice.
Tyler Warren, 5th overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh.
They love Tyler Warren, how he can help their offense, and kind of transform what they need to do. They said they like their backup, Braxton Strange, I think that's his name, Bryson Strange, something like that, and they can run a 2 tight end set with Tyler Warren.
I really like that pick, but I don't think they have the balls to do it so early.
Hey.
I think they would probably, when it's all said and done, Mason Graham would probably be the pick.
Yeah.
But anyway, besides the point, Raiders at 6. I mean, this is Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
This is Ashton Jeanty. They're not going to take a quarterback. There's no way.
They just traded for one. Gino.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they could still draft a quarterback. even after getting Geno.
Well, I mean, not in the first round, in my opinion. But I mean, the Falcons did it. But
yeah, Ashton Jeanty makes the most sense.
You have to think who their coach is now too.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Carroll, Marshawn Lynch, and Ashton Jeanty kind of has that Marshawn Lynch in him, short in stature.
They're building up star power with Bowers and Jeanty.
Mm-hmm.
They can potentially get a receiver maybe in the second round.
Yeah, I feel like the Raiders are in a good spot in the next couple of years to build something special with Bowers and whatnot. Right here, the Jets. I'm gonna pick another lineman. We have Abdul and Campbell going so far. Could it go Mason Graham? They do need a defensive lineman inside. Defensive lineman. We're gonna go Armand Mimbu. I'm gonna go Armand Mimbu just to get the blocking for Justin Fields straight and Breece Hall. Breece Hall needs a good offensive line to help him out rushing the football and give Justin Fields some time to distribute to the wide receiver Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall in the short game.
I think Ted McMillan is a threat to go 7 through 10. Well, not necessarily 10, 7 through 9. So I think they would.
He can get past.
They would. The Jets would consider taking him if he's there. I think the Jags could even consider taking him, even with Brian Thomas, because who's outside of Brian Thomas that they have?
Christian Kirk.
I think 7 through 9 is. I think Tech could be in play for the Jets, but right here at 8, not the Jaguars, the Panthers. They need Bryce Young. Bryce Young needs some weapons. You could say that they need, the DB or the edge, but I mean he's right there. Go ahead and get Ted McMillan.
Ted McMillan going right before the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Well, honestly, we can both do this since it's a Louisiana-based podcast, and I think we're both in agreement that Mason Graham's a pick right here. But I want to hear your input.
I would have loved Tet to fall to the Saints, and I think you take him maybe with a little hesitation considering Graham was on the board.
Mm-hmm.
But, I like this pick for the Saints. If Mason Graham was there, you take best player available. You don't think twice. You don't look at anybody else. You take Mason Graham. Go ahead and take him.
He's your starter, day one starter, plug and play with a ceiling of Pro Bowl. Now I'm a pick right here because we both did the Saints.
And going back on that though, Brian Brzee hasn't been,
he led the team in sacks.
He still has potential. He still has potential, but he hasn't been already what you hope for. So getting Mason Graham next to him, is adding star power.
And we both drinking the same water. Ozarka. Look at that. Shout out to Ozarka.
We're sponsored by them, by the way.
Yeah. We have connections. Refreshing. All right. Chicago. They can go anywhere right here. They could go offensive line, get Kelvin Banks or, a running back. I don't think the next best running back is Omarion Hampton. Did DeAndre Swift leave Chicago? Or is he still there?
Cool.
All right. Well,
I've seen mocks though where they have been taking Hampton.
At number 10?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was crazy too. I don't even think he's a top 3 running back in my opinion.
Really? Omarion Hampton not a top 3 running back?
I'll put him at 4.
I could see him going in the first round. Because
that's with a bunch of running backs though, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean this running back class is loaded. So Chicago, they could go D-line, safety, not safety going number 10, and running back. If Jeanty was available, I believe they could go Jeanty. And I made this prediction in our group chat earlier. I predicted Jacksonville and Chicago to trade, and Chicago get ahead of where Jeanty is projected to go at 6. Now, if that happens, then I should become a voodoo a priest or something. But that's probably not going to happen.
I just don't think Jacksonville would be willing to budge.
I don't know. They could get more draft capital to go back 5 spaces to 10. And they're in a rebuilding phase right now. I think Chicago goes with Jade Barron right here. 10th overall. Help their secondary.
That's not necessarily what I would have had.
Honestly, I think
I would have taken
Will Johnson.
I would have taken Malachi Starks if you're going to take a DB.
Yeah, but then I'd trade back if you get Malachi Starks because he's not a top 10 pick. He's not worth number 10.
I mean, obviously, Walter Nolan is, an incredible player, but he has the off-the-field concerns. So if it wasn't for that, you would take him right there if you were the Bears, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they don't get Genty, though, they could probably trade back.
Yeah.
Unless they want to take O-lineman. They could take – we didn't even think about that. They could literally take
anybody. They did a really good job improving their offensive line this offseason, protect Caleb Williams. They traded for Joe Tooney. Remember that from the Chiefs? It's your pick. San Francisco.
49ers right here.
11.
They probably need everything in the book. The obvious choice would be O-line and Minbu. Minbu's here, correct?
I think I took Minbu. Yeah, I took Minbu to the Jets right here.
Oh, man, I already forgot. Yeah, so I don't think they'd be – unless it's Kelvin Banks. DB could be an option. Dang. Wouldn't surprise me if they went even with Fred Warner, if they went Jahad Campbell.
Yeah. I like that.
Jalen Walker could be in play.
Ooh, I forgot about Jalen Walker.
I think
Edge.
I feel like they could definitely. I'm between Jahad Campbell or Jalen Walker right here. I don't think they would take Walter Nolan.
Probably not.
Maybe you say DB too, but I think Jalen Walker or Jahad Campbell. Which one you feeling? I know it's my pick, but I'm just saying.
I do Jalen Walker if I'm the Bears. Or actually, no. If I'm the Bears, I'm taking this guy right
49ers?
Here. Yeah, if I'm the 49ers, I'm taking Kelvin Banks. Trent Williams. He's not going to be there much longer. He's on the back end of his career, and you find his replacement in Kelvin Banks right there. Dallas. One of the places where
I just think you can't. They can't really go wrong with anything.
No, not really.
But yeah, now that you say it, they probably could. It's a possibility they probably go Kelvin Banks over.
Yeah.
Linebacker. So take it or leave it.
I'm sorry.
So take it or leave it. This is not a professional mock draft.
No, we're just casuals, being honest. And we're not doing trades either. So we know
a little ball though.
Yeah. Drafts a player. Dallas. They could go with a bunch of players right here. Get Dak some protection. Get Kelvin. You can get JPJ. Or get some D-line help. Micah Parsons might be out mainly because of contract issues. And I can see them draft another wide receiver. Let's see who's number one receiver on the board. Luther.
You wouldn't believe it.
What?
I feel like they would take Matthew Golden, keep him in Texas.
Well, let's see. Where's he at? 20. It would be really good.
He's rumored to be the top receiver off the board anyway. I mean, not the top receiver, second receiver. Because Travis Hunter, you don't really count him as a receiver. You count him as an athlete.
Yeah, athlete. That's what I call him. Dallas. I think I'm going to go with it's a tough pick right here.
Did I say their need is a center or a guard?
A guard, wide receiver, running back, or edge.
Kelvin Banks could play guard.
Yeah, I like the philosophy.
You can keep Kelvin Banks in Texas and put him at guard.
Yeah. The best in Texas, stay in Texas. That's why I'm going with Matthew Golden. Need their wide receiver room better. And CeeDee Lamb can't carry the big end of the stick the entire season. And he got hurt the bulk end of last year. They had Brandon Cooks carrying the load. So that way, if CD goes down, they have a guy, Matthew Golden.
All right, this pick for the Dolphins at 13, this is where I really probably would have liked Jahdae Barron. But since he's off the board, they would probably love to get Kelvin Banks as a potential guard or tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you say Walter Nolan for the D-line, but I'm gonna go DB Will Johnson.
Oh, I guess he's best available right now. And Jalen Ramsey's out of the building, requested a trade. I like that pick for him. Indianapolis, their need is yes. They need everything. And just looking at this board, there's many places that they could go. They could go tight end, guard, whatever. I like Gray Zabel, but last time a FCS offensive lineman went was Trevor Penning 2 years ago, and he sucks. So I don't know if they go that way. They could go Jahad Campbell or Colston Loveland. That's what I'm down to. Colston Loveland.
I would go Colston Loveland.
Let's do that. Because Mo Alley Cox is not it. 2 Michigan players going back to back. With Johnson,
right,
Colston Loveland.
Here we go with the Falcons. Does that say center or guard? I'm sorry, I can't see.
Falcons, wide receiver, center, edge, linebacker.
Yeah, so looking at the board right here. Who are the Falcons linebackers?
Caden Ellis is one of them. Olu, right? What's his name? The dude that came from the Jaguars.
Olukan.
Yeah, Feliusada Olukan.
I feel like they could be in play for Jahad Campbell right here. Receiver, I wouldn't necessarily say receiver is their main need, even though it kind of says it. But I think Mike Green's staring me in the face though. I think they could add to the edge and get Mike Green.
It's your pick.
I think I'm gonna go Mike Green.
Mike Green, all right.
Could be Mike Red. I don't know.
I don't know about that pick, just being honest. But there's many places that they could go and hit.
Like Mike Green, man.
I like Mike Green. I've watched his highlights. He's impressed me. Arizona.
All right, so when it happens on draft night, then you just have to
tomorrow night.
Stare me in the face.
All right, Arizona. Need offensive line, defensive line, and defensive back.
I think it's time.
Time for lunch or time to go. Kelvin. What about this next pick coming up right here?
They're not going to get a line.
They can go D-line. They need everything.
They're 100% going to D-line. Or Jahad Campbell, the Bengals. I think if you're the Cardinals,
Walter Nolan's still there. I think I'm gonna go Walter Nolan to Arizona. It's taking long enough.
Like the Bengals would have loved that.
Yeah, just ripped from them.
I would have gone Kelvin. But anyway, so the Bengals right here. You really look at. I guess you look at 2 guys, maybe. You look at Jahad Campbell and Malachi Starks. I mean, Malachi Starks he shouldn't be available.
No.
But
he could fall, just being honest.
And you saw how much better the Bengals defense was when they had Jesse Bates. as a safety. But I think, it's actually tough. Because if Starks is there, you would think they would take him and not hesitate.
Yeah.
I'm going to just do it. Go Malachi Starks.
Malachi Starks. He's the best ranked player, according to PFF, available at the time. Seattle. Wait, is Drew Lock their starting quarterback now? Or Sam Howell?
Sam Darnold.
That's right. And I see Jackson Smith and Jigba, their wide receiver 1.
They need O-line desperately, though.
Yeah. And you saw what happened whenever Sam Darnold went to a competent team that had a competent offensive line, or actually they were mid, and a competent wide receiver, JSN. They could get wide receiver, in my opinion, offensive line, edge, whatever, but it's taken long enough. Kelvin's off the board at 18. Buccaneers.
Now that I think about it, when Starks fell, I think there'd probably be if a team saw he fell, I felt like a team would probably trade over him.
I guess so.
I don't think it's that much of a possibility the Bengals would land him. But yeah, Kelvin Banks going to Seattle. I mean that's a desperate need.
Mm-hmm.
With the Bucks at 19. I've heard that they kind of like the edge from Boston College. Not even gonna say his name. Let's see. Jahad Campbell's also there. Jahad Campbell's there to be mentored by Levante David.
Ooh.
So I'm between kind of those two right now. I feel like they would go. I'm gonna go Donovan Ezeraku.
It's not a bad pick. I mean, you can't go wrong with anything right there for if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right here, this is an interesting pick. Sean Payton's, was it third year in Denver? Second year in Denver? You know, they could get skill positions right here, running back, wide receiver. I think Hampton's a possibility. I think Igbuka's a possibility. You could get offensive line to help Bo Nix. You know, or pass rush. Like,
you don't think Luther
could go. Yeah. But I've heard a lot about Sean Payton being in love with this guy that I'm about to pick. And let's go Marion Hampton, 20th overall.
I knew it.
Like, I'm on board with Mel right here. Mel Kiper, I don't know if you've ever watched him. And he hasn't been very accurate on a lot of his picks, and he doesn't like drafting running backs in the first round either. Neither do I. But they desperately need a halfback in that backfield for Bo Nix.
I just think the thing with Hampton is, like, in a way, the only player. Well, Marion Hampton, his start and stop is just. It's just not that of, like, the other running backs. You know, the only player who can pull that off is Derrick Henry. You know, to put that into example, like, if Derrick Henry gets, like, past the first 5 yards, anything could happen. So that's kind of like Hampton. So you can compare him to Henry, but at the same time, do you think he's actually going to be Derrick Henry? So that's the part that just makes me value other running backs.
Yeah, but what if he is?
If he is,
then that's a great pick. But I feel like he's
still a great player.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a bowling ball.
His floor is low, and his ceiling is through the roof. So it's kind of a safe pick for Denver.
So at 21, the Steelers, they could go Shador. They wouldn't take any other quarterback other than Shador.
Could take Jackson.
They lost Najee. They still have
Jaylen Warren.
They still have him?
Yeah.
So they give him the full tool to the offense?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong with tackle. They would have loved Malachi Starks if he fell. But I'll probably have them going. I kind of want to go Shador.
Shador. All right, go Shador. It would be perfect timing for them to draft Shador Sanders, get their franchise guy. Perfect timing, baby. Los Angeles. All right. They need offensive help. They don't really need running back because they got Najee. They need targets, weapons for Justin Herbert. And they made a postseason run last year, I believe, right, with Ladd McConkey as their wide receiver 1.
Yep.
Who else to pair with Ladd McConkey than Luther Burden?
Mm-hmm. I would have done that too.
It's kind of like a consensus pick. If the number 1 wide receiver from last year, or like before the season started, number 1 wide receiver Luther Burden still on the board at 22, there's some high upside right there.
I would have done that because I feel like Ibuka and Ladd McConkey are kind of similar
the same player, route runners.
I mean, obviously, if you want 2 of those guys, go ahead and take them. Ibuka, but I feel like Luther adds an extra element to their offense.
And Quinn Johnson was a bust, so they needed a hit. And Luther was probably that guy.
Packers at 23, they would probably love Luther. But
they need a wide receiver.
Ibuka could also, he probably sparks their interest. Edge rusher, maybe you would think. Cornerback. The next cornerback is Trey Amos. He probably slips the second round, in my opinion.
I don't know. I like him.
Looking at the edge rushers, you have James Pierce, who preseason was, mocked to be top 10, top 5 pick, one of the best edge rushers in the draft. But I guess you question his size, maybe.
I don't know. Wasn't really productive last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, but so at 23 right here, I feel like they would go Emeka Ibuka.
All right. You can't get – I like that pick too. Minnesota. I'm kind of torn right here. They could go many places. I feel like it's been too long for Jahad Campbell not to go. You got he's not going to fall this far in real life, in my opinion, because he's probably a top 15 player. We have him falling 10 picks. We have actually it's not bad.
That's why trades are going to be a big part, and obviously we don't know what teams are doing trade wise on draft night. So if we knew everything correctly lined up, we would probably be more accurate.
Yeah, and last year I remember me and you predicted the first 10 picks correctly because it was kind of a surefire thing. This team's going this, that, bang, bang, bang. We have the first top 10 picks correct. Or no, we had it right until Falcons traded for homeboy. And then we got the next pick correct.
So
I didn't say his name on purpose because I didn't want to mess it up.
Vikings going back-to-back Bama players in the first round. From last year, Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner last year, this year, Campbell.
Why not?
Hey, Bama culture, baby.
That's right.
So for pick 25, the Texans, they lose Stephon Diggs. They would probably like to get Ibuka, maybe potentially.
He gone.
But I'm gonna have them going Josh Simmons.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. Not much to explain.
Oh, actually, no.
Oh, I can't.
I was gonna say maybe they consider Gray Zabel.
I'd take Josh Simmons.
Yeah, it's fine. Josh Simmons is fine, but Gray Zabel is he's a first round lock in my opinion.
Really? So, a bunch of guys go right here to the Rams. But I'm about to shock the world with this pick. I'm gonna start scrolling down, and I don't think
hard, man. It's a little far.
I don't think
it's a little far down.
This isn't very a hot pick to this team, and it doesn't really address one of their needs. Holy cow! Where's this dude at? All right, rip the Band-Aid. Jackson Dart, 26 overall to Los Angeles. Like,
bro.
Yeah, they had their guy, Matthew Stafford, but he's going to play 1-2 years max. And look at the quarterback.
If that happens, that'd be absolutely ridiculous.
Sorcery? Well, like I said, Matthew Stafford only has 1 or 2 more years left in the tank. And you look at the past quarterbacks to get selected and sit a year or 2, they develop into a fantastic quarterback. For example, the greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes. I said it. He's a GOAT. And Drew Brees had a year too, or half a season. And
so you do.
There's numerous examples.
Give Jackson Dart the
he could start next
treatment with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. And look what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Matthew Stafford.
That's why the Saints are talking about trading up in the first round. That's why the Saints are talking about trading up in the first round again, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you have a threat to take Jackson Dart.
Yep.
I feel like the Browns would be looking to trade up, though. I feel like the Browns would probably land Dart. They trade back up in the first round.
So,
but so we got the Ravens.
Have we gone 26 picks and not selected James Pierce Jr. yet?
Dude, he's going to fall, I'm telling you. I mean, the Ravens would love him right here, though, so go ahead and take him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if he fell in the Ravens' lap, I mean, they'd probably pull the trigger. You know, they could consider Shamar Stewart, who's also a very good player, but, you know, you go James Pierce right there.
Well, Lions. They had one of the best offensive line last year, right? And they lost Aiden Hutchinson for a while, for the whole season. You got Nick Gordon, Shamar Stewart.
I'd go Stewart.
Yeah, I agree. Shamar Stewart. There we go. Washington. See, if Amari and Hampton doesn't go 20 to Denver, I feel like he's going to go 20.
Yeah, I feel like he wouldn't be. I feel like there's other running backs who would do better in that offense than he would. You know, they're more of a vertical zone run kind of team. That's not Hampton.
I guess so. I see what you're saying.
What is this? Just sort by running backs just for a second. I'm not saying they're going to take a running back.
Cam. I like Dylan Sampson. I like
Sampson. Neal. I feel like Cam Scatterbo would be a dog in their offense for some reason. Obviously, he wouldn't go.
You saw Brian Robinson. He's a bruiser, kind of like Cam Scatterbo.
But Scatterbo.
But Scatterbo's a linebacker in a running back's body.
It's just all like a visual kind of thing, also mixed with a fit thing, mixed with vertical run game.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's second round territory. So right here, you see right. I don't think they probably wouldn't take O-lineman. I mean, they consider it.
They did improve their offensive line.
They would probably consider taking Nick Scorton. You know, before they had Lattimore, they were one of the worst secondaries in the league. So
and Lattimore only played like 3 games with him.
I said Trey Amos could slip in the second round, but he could be in play. Benjamin Morrison could be one of the best corners in this draft, but he has the injury issues.
I just forgot about Michael Williams. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think we have to take him. What are we doing?
So just scroll back up. So obviously Michael.
We messed
Michael,
this
top 2 option. Kenneth Grant, I feel like he falls.
Yeah.
So either Scorton or Michael.
It has to be Michael.
I think you go Michael. I've heard rumors about
the
Saints taking Mike Hill at 9.
Okay, right here, Bills. They don't really need much. They signed Tre'Davious White back. I don't know if you saw that.
They would have loved Mike Hill Williams.
I think any team past the Bengals, actually Walter Nolan lower, would love Mike Hill Williams. But the Bills, I feel like Nick Scorton. I feel like they're in a position to develop Nick Scorton right here, make him a good player. Now, also
and they re-signed Trey White, correct?
They did. Like it just said.
Yeah, they not re-signed him. They just signed him as a free agent.
Mm-hmm. Trey Amos could be in play right here.
That's why I wouldn't have them taking him. But you said Nick Scorton?
Yeah. We'll go Nick. Kansas City.
Gray Zabel.
Yeah, either Gray or Josh Conner.
They need O-line.
Gray Zabel. Philadelphia. I've heard a lot about them trading back.
They're not going to take a receiver.
No, they're not. I don't know why that's right there. Unless Devontae Smith is traded to Miami for Jalen Ramsey.
I feel like one of these guys score down on the board. I feel like just one of any of these guys who you wouldn't think would go in the first round are going to go in the first round, whether it be 20 through 32, maybe even earlier. Because, some teams are just weird like that, but I feel like there's going to be something crazy that's going to happen. All right.
I just took Siobhan Reville. I don't know if you saw that, or actually you had to.
I saw it.
Our final mock draft. Cam Ward, Travis, Abdul, Will, Tyler, Ashton, Armand Mimbu, Mason Graham, Jade Barron, Jalen Walker, Matthew Golden, Will Johnson, Colston Loveland, Mike Green, Walter Nolan, the first 18 picks. Malachi Starks, Kelvin Banks, Donovan E., Omarion Hampton, Shador, that's perfect timing, Luther, Amika, Jahad Campbell, Josh Simmons, Jackson Dart, JPJ, Shamar Stewart, Michael Williams, Nick Scorton to the Bills, Gray Zabel to the Chiefs, and Siobhan Revelle rounding out the first round to the Philadelphia Eagles.
If you're going to take a highlight from this draft, pick 26.
Pick 26. I agree. It's my sleeper pick. Jackson Dart right here. All right. That's our 32 team mock draft.
We won't go too in depth with the Saints picks because we'll do another episode of a Saints full 7-round mock draft. So we're getting Mason Graham, best player available. You're automatically making your D-line potentially one of the best in the NFC South. Having him there, and who knows, maybe you could trade back in first round.
Yeah. So we're gonna hit in recording right here. We're gonna start recording our 7-round Saints mock draft. Thank you for watching Off Script. We'll catch you in the next episode. Make sure to like and subscribe.